Mobile bases suck. But you know what sucks even more? This. So let's fix it by building our own custom mobile base. So for the frame of this mobile base, we're gonna be using some 2x6 cedar that I picked up at the local big box store. But really the main star of the show is gonna be these casters that I picked up on Amazon. They have these cool little ratchets that allow you to easily adjust the height of the foot, as well as putting it into mobile mode. They say they're rated for 2,200 pounds. I don't know if that's for the whole set of 4 or each individual caster, but either way, that should be plenty for what we're building today. But the first thing we need to do is get these cut to the length that we need. Because I'm not that smart, I'm just gonna measure from the end of my table saw all the way down to the end of my fence. And that should give me plenty of room for these casters. And that ends up being 78¼ inches. But guess what? I'm gonna make them 78. So I was just about to make my first cut and I realized I ran into my first problem using construction grade lumber. Let me show you. So basically for what I'm working on, which kind of looks like that, the design I'm going off of, I have to cut out a notch to set the casters in. And of course, 78 inches from the nice clear end over there down to this end lands right on a knot. But I think by just orienting this correctly, like that, we'll be able to cut that entire knot out anyways. I originally had it looking like that, and that just not gonna work. So, yeah, construction grade lumber, you get what you pay for. Also, for all the people that think you need more than just a jigsaw, you don't. All right, so now that I got my 2 pieces cut, I gotta figure out the notch for this. I don't want it to be right at the edge, but I also don't want it so far in there that this would be like a pain to get to. And then the other part is how deep, how high do I make this notch? Whatever this measurement is, and essentially make sure that that is 1/4 inch larger than my notch. That way, at least 1/4 inch of this wheel will be hanging below. So yeah, I'll get started on that. All right, so I got my 2 pieces notched out. I ended up doing a 5.5 inches in and 3 inches down. I measured the wheel and then I just rounded from there because I wasn't gonna do all that math. I think that still gives us plenty of meat on those ends. Let's go ahead and start on the cross supports that will actually hold the table saw in, and then the wing extension legs. Yeah.
Magic, 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 magic.
And just like that, we got 4 cross sections cut out. They're cut all at 21 inches because that's how deep my table saw is. But before I attach these to the front and back piece, I need to run a dado to receive the plywood that we're going to be using for the base of this whole thing. So let's cut some dados. Oh, and in case you were wondering what I used to cut these, jigsaw. So I got a nice dado run in all of my pieces. I'm about to call it quits for the night, but before I do, I would need to beef these edges up because as you can see, the caster is not going to be fully supported. So to do that, I'm just going to take the pieces that we cut out and glue them on like that. Nice and simple. All right, they're all glued up. I'm gonna leave them overnight, and tomorrow when I get back, we'll get started on ripping down some plywood. Yep. So let me catch you up on what I've done so far. I went ahead and trimmed off all the excess on the blocks that I glued on last night. And I've gone ahead and laid out my cross sections to get a feel of what size sheets of plywood I'm gonna have to cut down. So the table saw, I'm lucky, my table saw is just a square, so it will be a 21 by 21. And the dado that I made is 5/8 inch deep. So 5/8 and 5/8, I don't know, math, 1 1/4 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and take an 1/8 inch off of that because I don't want it to be too tight, but I do want it to be a pretty snug fit.
That's what she said. Don't you dare.
So let's cut some plywood. I guess, I don't know. You know, you get what you pay for. Okay, so the plywood pieces are cut. I used my trackless track saw to rough cut them and then used my table saw for final dimensions. Then I decided I'd give everything a nice sanding of 120 grit before it's all assembled and it gets too hard to manage.
You're so smart. You're so effing smart.
Also, a little advice, make sure to break the edges of your piece. I like to just do this with a 120 grit sanding block, but some people may opt for a router with a round over bit or a chamfer bit. Either way, you should really get used to doing this. I think it makes the piece look a whole lot better, and for shop furniture, it actually protects the edges from splintering when they're getting banged around. Look at me, getting all educational. Anyways, back to the nonsense. So as you can see, I got everything dry fitted, and to my surprise, it all came together with a little persuasion. But now that I know it'll all come together, it's time for some assembly.
All right, and while I assemble the base, I'd like to talk about something I failed to do and may end up paying for in the long run. Because I'm lazy, I chose to only partially disassemble the base when applying glue. Problem with that is I only got glue on the long sides. This could allow the plywood to bow slightly when the weight of the saw rests on it. Maybe it'll take 10 years before it fails, maybe not. Either way, I'd recommend anyone trying this at home to make sure you get glue all the way around the plywood.
All right, well, I think that's about it for the assembly. We'll let this glue dry up, and don't worry, I'm not gonna rely just on the glue tomorrow because it's Saturday and I wanna go hang out with my family. But tomorrow I'll come back and I'm gonna put screws, I think. Yeah, I'll screw it all together. Nope, I'm sorry, that's wrong. Man, am I glad I had time to think about that. Hi, it's me, Jason, a week older and a week wiser, I guess. So originally I had said I was going to use screws, but after thinking about it, screws are not going to provide me any more structural integrity after the glue has already set. I mean, really, screws are used for applying clamping pressure while the glue sets. Since the glue has already set in this case, and I've used clamps to apply that pressure, if I really want to beef this thing up, I think the best way to do that is going to be using dowels.
Those are just for decoration.
So with that said, let's go ahead and get these clamps off. I'm going to try using a YouTube trick I've seen before to get these off. Let's see if it works. Oh, I got most of them off. Guess I'm not a real YouTuber yet. Okay, so now that the clamps are off, I want to talk about one other thing before we get to the dowels. These. I cut these real quick out of some of the scrap I had left over. The plan is to add them to the underside here to help better support some of the weight of the table saw. So it'll be something like this. And I want to make sure the glue has time to set up, so I'm going to do these first and then move on to the dowels. Okay, so now that that's done, is this overkill? I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. For now, let's move on to the dowels. Although, maybe you think that's overkill too. I don't know. All right, I'm in the middle of doing these dowels, and let me tell you what, I made a mistake. I first tried using these 5/8 inch dowels. I thought I could do 2 big chunky dowels and that would be good, right? Wrong. I split the wood a couple times, and using a Forstner bit is not nearly as good as a nice brad point bit. So yeah, lesson learned. 3 1/2 inch dowels may be better than 2 5/8 inch dowels. Anyways, keep going.
All right, so this is the part where I tell you that I forgot to plug my mic in properly. But don't worry, I got this. Oh wow, look at that, a nice macro shot. Nice. Oh, and some glue. I'm not sure what sound to make for this one. I'm gonna let someone else handle this one.
Tap, 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 tappy, 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 tap, tap, taparoo.
Flush trim saws have no tooth set, so you can take its very thin blade and put it flat on a surface and cut off things without.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what happened to my voice right there.
Dowels, dowels, dowels. And while the dowel's set up, I'm gonna go ahead and get these casters mounted. But before I do that, I want you to know that these casters did not come with anything to attach them to wood. They came with some bolts. But luckily I was able to find some heavy duty screws. Just keep in mind that if you're gonna use these casters and put them into wood, you'll need to find something too.
Yep, the mic was off again. But hey, you get to listen to me practice my tool sounds. First, a drill. And now, an impact driver. Man, am I good at this or what?
It works. Okay, now that we've completed the mobility part, there's one more thing I want to do before we put the table saw on this thing, and that's finish. For finish, it should come as no surprise that I'll be using Rubio. I love this stuff. It's just so easy to apply. As far as protection, I mean, it is a shop project, so it is going to get beat up quite a bit. So maybe Rubio isn't the best.
Thank you!
But I'm lazy, and you can't beat the application process of Rubio. So that's what we're gonna do. Plus, I think it looks really good too. So let's get some Rubio mixed up.
All right, there's no sound here, but that's on purpose because I want to tell you about Rubio and the way that I mix it and apply it. First, I like to use 5 milliliter syringes, and Rubio suggests a 3-to-1 ratio. So that's 3 parts oil and 1 part hardener. So for this size project, I used 6 syringes of oil, so I'll use 2 syringes of hardener. And I'll make sure that I switch to a different syringe for the hardener. Remember, with Rubio, a little bit goes a long way, and if you don't have enough, you can always mix more between applications. Then it's just giving it a good mixing. For application, I just use one of these white Scotch-Brite pads that you can get on Amazon. Now I'm going to show you why I love Rubio. Boom. Vertical application without worrying about any drippy mess or reorienting the project to get to other angles. I still believe Rubio is underrated. I mean, come on, show me a finish that's this easy to apply. And you also get a workout when you have to rub it off. Oh man, shouldn't have said that.
Okay, so personally, I give it an A for aesthetics. I love the way the cedar looks. The Rubio really made it pop out. So that part, I'm very happy with. But it really doesn't matter if it can't hold the table saw, right? So time to put it under the table saw. So I just want to say, I am not excited about this. I've seen online people basically use the other end and just kind of tilt it up and use leverage to tip over the saw. And that's what I'm gonna try to do. Wish me luck. Well, we'll see. Measurement says it's not gonna work, but internet has me confident. Okay, that's already not very easy. This would be helpful if it already had a mobile base. Oh, good. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know how good this is for the saw. Probably not very. I'm worried because I can't really use these legs because they're like very janky. And I don't really want to just let it come slamming down. But I can only hold so much weight. Oh, okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, so it's sitting on that. I put these here, whoa, like that, boom. Haha, easy. Hey, I've survived. And the saw did too, I guess. Okay, let's see if we can get the base under it. I need my assistant. For research purposes. Okay, so now, I mean, we should be able to just like, the idea is just to tilt it back now. Okay, I think there's nothing to it but just to do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, I have a feeling my shit's just gonna break right now. That'll be like, that'll just be the end of the video. All right. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's
fall
good.
off?
No, it's good. Just making contact with the wheels and stuff probably. Oh yeah, I don't want it to hit the, try to slide it towards us a little bit. Oops. Okay. Uh-oh, yeah.
Is it on?
No, I think it broke one of the wheels already.
Oh.
Woo!
It broke one of the wheels?
I don't know, I thought it might have, but I guess not. There was a lot of creaking and cracking. Easy. Easy mode. I gotta get all this. Okay, goodbye. Thanks for your help. All right, well, it survived, I survived, everybody survived. It works. Now I'll be the first to say that I probably will never use a mobility feature of this space. For me, the shop really revolves around the table saw, so I kept that in mind when I was designing the layout of the shop. But for some, the center of the shop might be a CNC, a big ass lathe, or even your significant other's car. So having the ability to swivel the table saw out of the way when not in use is a huge win. Personally, I'm much more interested in the leveling feature of this base. You see, my shop was built on a raised foundation, and let's just say it's a little uneven. So having a base that could be leveled out like this was a huge yes please when looking for a design. Huh, come to think of it, I guess it was the only thing I really wanted. I could have just shimmed the table saw level, I guess. Well, speaking of things I wish I didn't do, check out this video. Bye. How do people sit like that?